Hi there. So it's Kathy with Be Creative with Kathy, and today is Friday, September 21st. No, it's Monday, September 21st. Oh, Lord have mercy. But anyway, so I know I'm a little bit early. Usually on Mondays I don't come on till 1:30, but I have plans this afternoon, so I'm on a little bit early. I hope you can forgive me. But let me show you my card, or at least my plan. So I was invited to do a swap by my dear friend Amy, and her requirements for her swap were just a little bit of coloring. And I don't know if you know this about me, but coloring is not my strong point. It's not something I look forward to. And she said just a little bit of coloring. So I decided that a while ago I had purchased this stamp set, the Wishes and Wonders bundle, the two of them, because I saw this card. Look how pretty this is. And I fell in love with these deers. So I had this stamp set, and this stamp set requires just a little bit of coloring. And it's on page 32 if you're interested in the mini catalog. And then this same folder right here, right? Look how pretty that is. Looks like this in the catalog. So the catalog does not do it justice of how pretty that is. But that's another item that I wanted to use in my swap. So this is what I came up with right here. And you'll see I'm almost done with my swaps. I've got quite a few of them made. Whoop, there's a little extra deer that I'm still working on the others. And then look what I did to the envelope. I just took and stamped that little special delivery from the stamp set. I thought that would be cute on the envelope. So let me show you how I did my card. Okay, we're gonna start with the stamping first. And like I said, we're using the Wishes and Wonders. And we're going to emboss all these pieces. So I have a scrap here of soft suede and a scrap of Very Vanilla. And maybe you can explain this to me, because I think this is a vintage stamp set. Look, I tried to do the card in white, and maybe you can't even tell the difference, but boy, I could. But I think since it's a vintage stamp set, I'm going to go ahead and use the Very Vanilla. They're one of my little hang-ups. So the deer is simple. We're just going to use Versamark ink. And now I have a clean Versamark and I have a dirty Versamark. And I'm going to use my dirty Versamark, which doesn't matter. It still stamps the same. But I'm going to take my little deer here and stamp him right here on the red, or I'm sorry, on the soft suede, and just give it some time for that ink to sit onto the paper and get a good image. So I don't know if you can see it, looks like that. And then I have some clear embossing powder, and I'm going to just put some embossing powder on that sticky ink. Let me flick the back, get the little flakes off. And then, of course, with my heat tool, let me find my tweezers to hold my paper. I'm going to let my heat tool heat up, and sorry about the noise, but real quick, I'm going to just melt that embossing powder back on, or onto the paper. Because really all embossing powder is shaved plastic that we need to melt onto the paper again. And all the Versamark does is hold the embossing powder in place. So now my deer is ready. But then I wanted to stamp my sleigh and my words in soft suede ink. Well, we don't sell soft suede embossing powder, so let me show you what I did. Let's start with the words first. I took this stamp. I'm going to ink it up in the Versamark, and then I'm going to ink up in the soft suede ink, and then stamp it down here. Now, it doesn't hurt your soft suede ink to put the Versamark on your stamp first, and then it looks like that. And let's do the same thing to the sleigh. I'm going to ink up the sleigh in Versamark, and then I'm going to set it down here in my soft suede, and then set him down here on my Very Vanilla cardstock. And now, because we used that Versamark first, when you bring in your embossing powder, that embossing powder sticks to the soft suede ink. I don't know if you can see it on this Very Vanilla paper. Let me cover up my Versamark and close my soft suede. And then I'm going to heat. And now it's easier on the colored cardstock than it is on the white and the vanilla. But you can see There we go. And then you can see how it's got the embossing with the different colors. So you can do that with any classic ink. Isn't that nice like that? And let me make sure I have all my little edges and bits and parts. Yep, they're all melted and shiny again. So I know I've gotten all my pieces of embossing powder melted back onto my paper. So now I want to color a little bit. So I'm going to bring in my, these are Real Red blends. I have the light and the dark. And I also have the light and the dark on the soft suede, but I'm not going to use the dark. I'm only going to use the light. Because on my deer here, I'm going to take, and I like to use the tip end, like looks like a pin. And I'm going to just color his, I don't know what this is. What is the neck part of a deer called? But I'm going to make this just a little bit darker. With a really light touch, I'm going to just kind of color in a little bit of his horns here and a little bit on his hooves. So now he looks like that, and now I've met my requirements. I've done a little bit of coloring, but I'm going to do the same thing to the sled. And let's see, I want to start with the light red, Real Red, with the marker tip. And I'm going to just trace around the sleigh here. Now let me tell you something about the blends. If you hold them in one spot too long, see how they kind of bleed out? So I'm going to make sure I keep my marker moving. On this part, it wouldn't matter if it bled out a little bit, but later on when we're doing the fine work, it will. But I'm going to just lay down a good foundation on my sleigh here. Try to stay in the lines. And then a little bit here in the front, making sure I don't get part of the, well, the sleigh part. What are well, I can't think of what they're called, so oh well. The little things that sit in the snow. So I'm going to miss those parts if you can see there. And then with my dark, the same pen tip, I'm going to just trace around, and now I'm going to apply a little bit more pressure because I kind of want it to bleed into the sleigh. I hope that makes sense, but you'll see when I blend them, or yeah, when I blend the colors together, the light and the dark together, what I'm talking about. And then here, I'm going to go all the way across the bottom. And then with my light touch again, around the, and boy, I can't remember what those are called, the bottom of the sleigh, this part of the sleigh that I don't want to be colored. And now the reason I wanted my sleigh to be brown, because this is like the vintage part of Santa, when he would have had to make his sleigh out of trees or whatever, not the shiny stuff that you see like on the movie Elf. And I hope all that makes sense. But now it looks like it's a wood sleigh rather than a metal sleigh back in the day. Then I'm going to just take my light marker here and just kind of blend that dark in and give it another coat. Let's see if I can get a little here, a little bit here. And now look how nice my sleigh looks. And it didn't take very long at all. Okay, so now I think we're all done coloring. Let's cut these pieces out. So I'm going to bring in my die cut machine, move stuff out of the way, and I have a confession to make. Are you ready for this? So I told you that we would never have to worry about our plates warping again, but let's start. So I'm gonna, let me see if I can get this on the screen better. There we go. I'm gonna start with the platform number 1. And then I'm using thin dice, so I'm gonna go with plate number 2. And then this is where I lied. I told you that the magnetic plate would never warp. Well, I lied. It warps, but it's still the bomb. I will still use it forever. I'm gonna put my pieces up here on my magnetic plate. And then here's my dies. So I'm going to use this circle on him, and then the sleigh, and then the reindeer. Let's see if I can get those lined up without getting my head all over the camera. There, I think the circle's the hardest one to get lined up. Nope, he wasn't bad. Oh, and that's the wrong deer. I want this deer, the outline deer, not the solid deer. And on the deer, I try to line up his feet and his antlers, and that way you get it where you want it. Of course, we'll see how I do on camera. That looks pretty good. Does that look pretty good? Okay, let's go ahead and then put our clear plate number 3 on top of that, and then run it through with our fingers crossed that I got everything lined up. Well, and I didn't do very good on my circle here, but my sleigh looks great, and so does my deer. And I think I can live with the circle as good as it is. So we need 2 more pieces cut. We're gonna need a red circle that looks like that. Let me put my dies away real quick so I don't lose them. And then I'm going to bring in one of my favorite dies, if I can find it. Here it is. It's In the Pines, I think it's called, and it's this little thing right here, because I want this little snow right here across the bottom of my card, and this is the best. This die set is the best die set if you want snow. So I have a piece of let me set my thing up again, and I have a scrap here somewhere of real red. We're going to just lay him on there, and I have this is a 3/4 inch by, I believe, 5.5, and I'm going to lay my snow mound so it's right at the top of that little scrap of paper, and then we'll cut those out too. And then while I have my die cut machine here, I'm going to go back to my platform number 1, and then I have a scrap. No, it's not a scrap. It's a piece of balmy blue that is 5 1/4 by 5, and I'm going to set that up here in my folder. Hope you can see, because I'm pretty close to the camera now, but I'm going to lay that in my folder like this. I like to lay the fold edge to go through the machine first, and then I have my number 4 specialty plate, and I'm going to run that through my machine real quick. Okay, so now I'll show you when I go to store. Let me grab these pieces off of my magnetic plate to store my machine. And this, I put the magnetic plate on the bottom, and then all my other plates, and then I fold up my machine and I store them nice and flat like that. So you can see I can flatten out my magnetic plate again. So that's just a suggestion. If you have the magnetic plate and you love it as much as I do, you can't live without him, but he's a little bit warped now, that I just store him, everybody on top of him, and that kind of flattens him out again. Okay, let's go on. So I'm going to take my circle here that I cut out, and you know what? I think I have a better one. I'm going to use that one instead, because that was really off. I didn't do very well on my circle, and I should have redone him, but for the sake of the video, I'm going to just use another one and layer him right here on there. So I have that ready. I have my snow ready. Although my snow's not ready, it needs to be 5 inches. So I'm going to bring in my paper trimmer, and I like this end better than this end, so I'm going to set this end at 5 inches and just trim off that little piece of cardstock, because then we're going to take this piece of balmy blue that we ran through that beautiful, look how pretty that folder is, with a little bit of liquid glue here. I'm going to just glue this right along the bottom here. There we go. Now I should take my scissors, my paper snips here, and just trim off that little bit that doesn't match my balmy blue. So now it's perfect. Then I have 2 pieces of very vanilla cardstock here that are 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm going to take some more liquid glue. and place this right on here. And I like to use the liquid glue when I've embossed a piece of paper like this, because it doesn't, you know, doesn't squish the embossing out of it, but yet it gets a nice hold on there. So my card base is real red, and it's 5 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I scored it at 4 1/4. I'm just gonna fold on that score line, and then again with a little bit of liquid glue. I'm going to take and put this on the front of my card base. And look how pretty that is. I love a red, white, and blue Christmas card. I think it's just beautiful. Okay, so on these pieces here, let me bring the card back in so you can see what I'm working with here, what I have planned. I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back. And now on my sleigh, I'm going to kind of avoid the bottom because of this lip of snow here. I don't want it to get stuck on there, so I'm going to kind of just put it toward the top. A couple on my circle here. And then for my reindeer, I think I'm going to use my mini dimensionals. And just put a bunch on him so that he lays solid. And again, I'm going to avoid just the bottoms of his feet, so when I lay him on that snowbank, it doesn't get in the way. I'm going to start with my sled here. And just lay that toward the bottom, just like that. And then let's see, let me find my take a pick tool here. Here he is. Because to get these dimensionals, all these little dimensionals off, it's just faster. And when you're trying to do a Christmas card like this and you're doing a bunch of them, oh, come on, dimensional, there we go. It just helps to use that take a pick tool. Take your pick tool is what it's called. And then lay my deer right there. How cute. And then a couple more dimensionals here. And we're going to lay that right up there. So then for the inside, I'm going to take, let me find, my stamp cleaner. Here it is. Let me clean my deer real quick because I want to stamp him on the inside. I'm going to put a little bit of cleaner here and clean my deer. Because now I want to just take him in the soft suede ink. And stamp him down in the corner. Hold that down, let the ink sink in. Ta-da! And then my sentiment here, all part of the same stamp set. I'm going to do in real red just to kind of get the colors going together. And I'm going to stamp that down about right there. Ooh, good job. Okay. So now in our card here, oh, there we go. Take a little bit of seal on the back of this. This on the inside of your card here. And there you go. Now all it needs is a little bit of bling on there. So I'm going to bring in the adhesive sequins. And now it comes, let's see if you can see, it comes with just the iridescent ones and some that are a little bit more white. But even on the very vanilla, I thought it looked nice with the, well, the colored one. So I'm going to just throw 5 of these right here on my card. And look how the Take a Pick tool makes that so much easier to add bling to your card. You just kind of slide it over and pull it up, and then poof, there they are on your card. Let's kind of clean up a little bit and tell me what you think. Is that not a cute card? I think the people in my swap are going to be very happy. And then of course, you know, it's Christmas time, so you got to make a few extras just to have on hand. And then let me show you another part of this die set. Is this die here that does like a tag. There's so many cool dies in here. So look what I did on the inside of this one. I kind of did a tag there instead of the normal vanilla card base. So let me show you some of the other parts of this die set. You saw the reindeer here, which is really nice, but let's look at those tags. So I have the reindeer here that I put onto a tag, and I ran the tag through the embossing folder just like before, and then a little note on the back, the to and the from tag. And then this one is probably my favorite tag. Look how pretty that is. So I just stamped on the white piece of that I die cut the tag in oh boy, spruce, shaded spruce, and then I used my blend to color the little leaves, and I also colored the ribbon. I used the crinkled white ribbon and then just colored it with my blend. You've probably seen me do that in my videos 100 times. And then the cool thing is that this die set even has this little piece that cuts out all these little berries, and they're even, if you can see it, they're even different sizes of little berries. So I just took a piece of foil paper and cut out the berries, and then you'll see I ran that die through the edge there just to give it a little bit of color down there too. So there's so many things you could do with this stamp set and dies, it's not even funny. Now, one thing you also could do is, instead of using the little pieces of foil paper, you could use, and let me see if I can find them, here they are, you could use the product of the month, which is the Red Rhinestones. And don't forget that in the month of September, when you place an order and it's $25 to $149, because if it's over $150, you go ahead and take the hostess benefits. But if it's $25 and below $150, be sure and use my September host code at my online store, and I'll send you a reusable card with a package of the Red Rhinestones just in time to get ready for your Christmas cards. So that's all I have for you today. Let's bring them all back in and show you all the pretties that I've seen or made with this stamp set. And you let me know how much you like this stamp set, or if you think about buying it. Have a great week, and I'll see you back here Friday about 11:30. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.